Hello and welcome to another episode of Create, Lead, Live. I'm Emily Wilkes and I'm thrilled that you've joined me for today's episode. Today I'm going to be talking about practicing gratitude and trust in your life daily and the way in which this helps your life to expand. And the reason I want to chat about this is because often in the world of business and leadership and high performance, we often believe that life expands or we reach those next levels of success and impact and outcomes that, the kinds of results that we're trying to achieve. We believe that those flow from hard work, from our diligence, from our effort. And we forget sometimes that there's a whole other layer to creating that kind of impact in our lives, which revolves around recognizing the strengths and skills and experience and knowledge that we already have, the resources that are at our disposal, the support that is around us. We forget sometimes that we have much to be grateful for and much to appreciate and much to draw upon in order to create those same results and outcomes and impact that we're dreaming of. So it doesn't necessarily, our results and our outcomes don't necessarily rely on that hard work and that hustle. They can rely on the effective and efficient use of the resources that we have at our disposal. So our job really, in many ways, is to use the skills and knowledge and resources and experience that we have, the support that we have available to us in the best way possible to bring about the result that we dream of. So we're not necessarily changing things, we're not making things happen, we're not necessarily building something new. What we're actually doing is we're creating something amazing from what we already have. And so practicing gratitude and trust is about noticing what we have, about acknowledging it and recognizing it and seeing it, paying attention to it, looking for it in the first place, because sometimes we don't even do that. Sometimes, as entrepreneurs and leaders and high-performing people, we focus on the gap between where we are and where we dream of being, where we are, where we think we should be, or our expectations of the level that we're aiming at. We focus on that here I am now and there's where I want to be. We focus on the gap and trying to close it through our activity, through our effort. We lean into that gap and what we think is missing. We feel lacking. We feel we're not enough yet. We feel like we've got a long way to go. We focus on the magnitude of the problem or those, challenge that's in front of us. Instead of actually leaning into what are the times when I'm already drawing on that skill that I need to be operating at that level? What are the times where I've solved problems just as big as this one? What are the things that I've done in the past that have enabled me to create the success I have? How can I acknowledge what I've already created and start to look at it and pay attention to it and actually pat myself on the back for the ways in which I created that, I drew on external opportunities, I took advantage of doors opening and said yes to paths that were unfolding in front of me. So it's like this process of kind of stepping back from the vision that you have and that kind of gap that you see and actually stepping into acknowledging what already is and perceiving what already is, your experience of life now, the things that you already have, with gratitude and appreciation, and also trust, like knowing that you created that, appreciating what you've already done and what you brought to that, what you brought to bear on those experiences that you've had, that you still have within you to bring to this next step, And, I talked about this a few videos ago at the beginning of the month about how powerful our perceptions are and that sometimes it's so important for us to leave behind what's happened up until this point in order to write that new chapter. And this is about shifting our perception of the past chapter and looking at where we sit right now and looking at it with deep appreciation and gratitude, and shifting our perception from what we don't have already to what we do have, and the multitude of resources that we actually have available to us already. Through that process of life unfolding, through that process of us learning how to do various things, us practicing various skills, for us stepping out of our comfort zone numerous times before, because you've done it. You've done these things so many times before. And so this process of practicing gratitude and trust is about acknowledging all that you already have within you and externally as well, your life experience, your life circumstances that add value to what you're creating, that you can draw on right now, here in this moment, so that the gap becomes unimportant. Because often, we dream of being something, or we dream of living in a certain way, experiencing life in a certain way. But when we start to bring that experience to the here and now, we start to see ourselves, creating our own definition of success. You're not waiting until this happens or that happens until you consider yourself successful or impactful or adding value. When you actually start to shift your perception of who you are and the terms that you use to describe your life and experience now, you start to see yourself differently. Then you start to operate in alignment with that new vision that you have. So you're not waiting until you have all these things in place before you can become that. You actually realize that you already are that. You've already been bringing that leadership from the time you were a kid. I've got a 4-year-old who is an incredible leader already, because he has that strength of character and strength of will to tell people what he wants, to be very clear about what he expects and how he wants things to unfold. He has a clear vision, and he's only 4. We've all got this. We've all got this capacity within us that we forget about, that we don't acknowledge. We pretend, we don't label it in that way. We don't label ourselves as leaders, even though we've been leading since we were kids. So we don't acknowledge necessarily the strengths and the skills and the uniqueness that we have to bring to our lives now, that we've been cultivating over a lifetime, that served us well over a lifetime. When you start looking back at your life and you think about, how have I solved these big problems before? What did I do? What did I draw on? What was it within me that I brought to that situation that enabled me to navigate it? That resilience that I might have had to navigate a difficult situation, that assertiveness that I had to have that difficult conversation, that vision that I had that led me through the muck and the uncomfortableness out the other side, because I could see where I was going, that enabled me to create that dream experience at some other point in time in my life that I can now bring to bear in this current reality that I find myself in. So you're actually, instead of ignoring what's you've got and what's already here and now, you're actually drawing on that in the here and now to create that experience that you're dreaming of. And you're using that gratitude and trust to actually look at your life in a different way, to appreciate it, to feel good. In the last video, I talked about the power of feeling good. Well, when you're practicing gratitude and trust for yourself and for your life and for your experiences, your energy and your feelings about who you are and your place in the world and the way that things work will naturally elevate too. You will naturally feel that energy lift within you. You'll start to see what you already have access to that makes you feel free. It's like, yeah, I can do this. I've got everything I need. And, this is part of that experience when I work with clients, is about sometimes when people come to me, they're having trouble seeing their strengths. They're having trouble seeing what's already working. They have trouble seeing the opportunities that are available to them because they've got a bit stuck in their minds. They've stuck in that gap of, I'm not where I want to be. I haven't quite got there yet. And part of the process is uncovering that magic within them that they've already been drawing on, the achievements they've created, the outcomes that they've already seen unfold in their lives, that they've had a key hand in creating. And so they start to feel more confident. They start to feel more empowered and ready for the next step, because they realize they don't need to build confidence, they already have it. They don't need to build these skills. They don't need to become something that they're not. They already are these things. It's really about acknowledging them. It's about looking and paying attention to them and patting themselves on the back for what they've already done, and drawing the lessons from those experiences and using them now. You know, there's all kinds of things that we experience in our life in various different settings, which can be generalized to new situations. And we forget that. We forget, you know, that challenging situation, which looked really different, drew on that resilience within me, or that courage within me, that I was willing to do something that was uncomfortable. And this situation, however different it might be, is going to require that same resilience and courage from me. And so when we start to acknowledge and practice gratitude and trust in it, gratitude for the life we've created and the outcomes we've already seen unfold in our lives, and trust in ourselves that we were the lead creator in our life, enables you to then do it again and again and again, and to create that kind of expansive life simply by continuously, efficiently and effectively using the resources you already have. That's where your expansion lies. It doesn't lie in getting rid of your weaknesses, or dealing with, the gap. The expansion comes from really tapping into what you're already good at, what you know you can do, what you've done before many, many times that served you really well, and drawing on those strengths to expand your current situation. I mean, this is the essence of growth, is expanding what you already have into something even stronger and more powerful in your life. So I hope that this exploration, these ideas have been helpful to you. I hope that you can find within yourself the willingness, I guess, and openness to slowing down, to actually taking the time out to look at the ways in which you've already contributed amazing things to your own life, that you've already created an incredible life. Often we get to a point in our lives where we've achieved something that we wanted, and then we just don't even look at it and acknowledge it. We just look to the next thing, and we continuously focus on the gap. Well, this is a process of actually acknowledging and celebrating what you've created already, and celebrating who you are and who you've become in the process of creating that life that you now live, that you once only dreamed of. So I hope this has been helpful to you. Please leave a like or a comment. Let me know how you found it, or share this video with anyone that you think might find it helpful too. I hope that it's been valuable to you. Have a beautiful week. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, take care. Bye.